Okay, so welcome everybody. My name is Jackie Malcolm. I am the Associate Dean for Learning and Teaching here at Duncan College of Art and Design, which is a school within the University of Dundee. What I'm going to do today is run through some portfolio examples so you get a feel for other portfolios that have been submitted, either for level 1 or for direct entry into particular programmes. We have two routes into first year. We have level 1 general course, which allows you to test and participate in quite a number of different disciplines such as textiles, graphic design, animation, jewellery, etc., fine art. Our other level 1 allows you entry into product design, digital interaction, or interior design. So I'm going to let you see one portfolio from either of these routes, and then what I'm going to do is let you see some portfolios from direct entry portfolios, because they're much more specialist and it's really important to understand the difference. So, Duncan of Jordanstone, what is it that's really important about us? What makes us unique? And there's 4 key points that I really want to emphasise. And remember this, because I'm going to do a little test with you at the end. So number 1 is we have dedicated areas for each discipline. We have desks within all these studio areas for students to use, and it very much becomes your home when you're here. That's your space to immerse yourself in your work, interact with your colleagues, and experience what life is like to study here at Duncan of Jordanstone. We also have a placement programme at level 3 for undergraduate students, and I'm only talking about undergraduate students today. And what that allows our students to do is to participate in a placement or internship with an external organisation over the summer, or work on a piece of substantial project that's external to the university. And then students will be awarded an extra 10 credits over and above their programme, their degree. We're also world leading in terms of research. All of our programmes are research-led teaching, and it's really important to understand what that means, because we have some really fantastic staff here. We're all practicing artists or designers. We either work professionally externally to complement what we do here, or we are what's called research staff, and we undertake projects as part of our contracts. Grow Citizen Science is a fantastic example of that. We also focus a lot of our work on interdisciplinary collaboration, and we have had some collaboration where we've brought design and medical students together to work on real life projects within Nine Wells Hospital, or at the present they are currently working with the V&A Museum to design a health and well-being trail. So have a think about these 4 key points. What I'm now going to go through is the example portfolios, and then just give you some hints and tips about what would be really helpful. So this is one for the general course foundation programme, as you can see, and I'm going to go through these quite quickly, but there's a number of things. We can clearly see the work that's being presented to us. There's some drawing, there's the use of colour, but also we can see and read what these pieces are, how big they are, and how important they were to the applicant. Again, some further work that demonstrates the experience. What's great here is we're seeing sketchbooks. We're seeing some of that analytical process how this person's beginning to think about his ideas and designs within the sketchbooks. Again, some sketchbooks here, but in relation to printmaking and what they might experiment with in terms of their printmaking. Some life drawing and explaining to us when they have been taken and what mediums have been used. Again, some strong life drawing. And interestingly, some design work in this. This is a good mixture of a portfolio where this person's been looking at some graphic design, typography related work. Again, really important to see what the thinking is behind some of the ideas and see these sketchbooks. And this is a selection of artwork created after a visit to Edinburgh, and some further sketchbook work in terms of anatomy and portraiture. So what we can see in this individual's portfolio is a really good mix of medium skills, working with colour, black and white, drawing, painting, and this is quite a high level of portfolio. This is you'll see this a very different portfolio for product design, okay? Some ideas, they are sheets of development, most likely schoolwork that's been done, and we can see how the thinking has developed as the projects have gone on. And here we see another idea for a V&A time capsule competition, and it's some development project work and how that might be realised in the end. Some jewellery, so although this is a portfolio for product design, we're actually looking at some other forms of design work, in this case more jewellery, constructed textiles. Again, some drawing and evidence of drawing and sketching the ideas and the forms, and just how, in this case, a computer case development can be taken through to final realisation and the final 3D rendering. Other work here for CCTV camera structure, and then some figure drawing. Now, not every portfolio for product design or digital interaction design or ID will have figure drawing, but if that is a skill you have and you're happy with the quality of the work, do put it into your portfolio. Again, sketchbook work is really important here. Final pieces and compositional studies for higher expressives, so very much from school, but again, it's annotated. We know where that's come from, and we can see and understand the breadth of the skills that that applicant had. We're now moving on to much more specialist portfolios. So if you're going direct entry into animation at level 2, you will see here drawing is really, really important within this portfolio. Some character development and how someone's begun to approach that, some background work, and also there's some links to online videos for the student, and life drawing again is featuring really quite strongly in animation portfolios. They want to really understand how well you can draw, because that's fundamental to the programme, but also in terms of your design and your concepts and how you're thinking about animation and who that animation might be for. So this is a really good example of a direct entry animation portfolio. It's well annotated. We can read exactly what it is, and it gives us links to online motion work where that's possible. Moving on to art and philosophy direct entry. Again, you'll see this being very different. Some development work in this case, but it's sketches, it's ideas, and it's really about thinking and understanding why you want to make a piece of artwork and what underpins that. Sketchbook work is really, really important in this case, but seeing how these ideas are developing, even although it's not a design piece, it's fine art or art and philosophy, and it's understanding the theoretical underpinnings that can begin to enhance the work that's being done. And this is a fantastic example from our own zoology museum. Fine art, direct entry again into level 2. We see here an array of sketchbook work, and then how that sketchbook work is transferred into photography. In this case, it's composite photography that this person's experimenting with, and then we're seeing some finished pieces that really show the development and the exploration and the realization of that idea. It's fine. In terms of figure drawings, some really good sketches here and drawings that show this applicant's capability here. And then some of the broader fine art pieces that this person has undertaken and produced. But again, we're seeing a breadth of skills, development work in sketchbooks, and we can see just how committed this individual is to the discipline and to what this person wants to do moving forward into the programme. Graphic design, and you'll see an example of mood boards, development work that's been done by the students, then into branding and posters and how that branding's been applied across a range of beers in this case. Again, city and colour research, so they've looked at the city and they're beginning to put together some advertising campaigns. So what we're seeing here is very much ideas in the making and realisation, and it allows us to see how the student has developed these ideas, how they've realised their ideas, how they've used colour, how they've considered the typography, the placement of typography, how it works with image and space and type on a page. Moving on to illustration. And this is a really good example of how illustration differs actually from fine art and graphic design, very much looking for the storytelling, the narrative in the visualizations. Sketchbook, again, all important. We want to see how you're thinking, how you're developing your sketch ideas, how good your ability to draw is. Here we see some digital work too, to let us understand the technical skills of the individual. This looks a bit more like graphic design, and it's fine. It's good to show that diversity of your work and how you can apply your skills, and in this case, a comic. And we do have expansive module in comics and also a top postgraduate programme in comics. Moving on to jewellery and metal design. Again, we will see sketches, we will see sketchbooks and understand the ways in which the applicants are thinking about their ideas, what's inspiring them, influencing them, and then how they might begin to think about putting this together as a jewellery piece or a metalwork piece. It's not just jewellery that we do here. It could be that you work with precious metals in lots of different ways. But what we're seeing here is this applicant's ability to look at what's around them, explore environments, and then begin to consider how to use different materials, how to apply different materials. Sea glass, how they might decide to use that. And in this case, this is a really nice mobile that's been done by this applicant. So we can see how they're working with materials and textiles. And moving on to, I think this is the final one, textile design, and this is quite a lengthy portfolio. would suggest this is maybe a bit too long, but it does show the investment in the sketchbooks that this applicant has, and also the way in which they are experimenting with materials in so many different ways. Looking at these visualizations, the mark making, the narrative, the storytelling. Textiles can tell us stories. And we're looking at some surface development here with different materials. A project where they've been inspired by the island staffa. I think that's on Orkney. There's some figure drawing here, mark making, sketchbook work again, understanding how that's influencing the work that this applicant does. And that's all really, really important when you come into Duncan of Jordanstone, because all of our courses are underpinned by really rigorous research and exploration into mediums, materials, ideas, so that it helps the student through that journey to realise the best from the potential of their ideas. And of course, the staff here are available to help with regular tutorials, with different lessons, using the different workshops, the students using printmaking, knitting, materials in so many different ways. So we can see that this student has quite a diverse range of skills that they can bring to the table and use to then further themselves. Now, what's important here is that we assess each portfolio through a set of criteria, and that criteria is considering the research, development and sketchbooks, the quality and originality of creative work, the practical competences and application of the skills, the communication and the presentation of the work, and also just how deep your engagement has been with that subject. So what to include? Everything that you normally would. Sketchbooks and development are still very important, but remember the squiggle. Now, I'm sure you're all thinking, what is the squiggle? Well, the squiggle is that process, that start of the idea generation, the messy bit at the beginning when you're just trying to find your feet, finding some ideas. Then you find something and work out that there's something you're really quite inspired by, so you develop it that bit further until you get to that final piece and that conclusion. And it's important for us to see that entire process through your portfolio. Name that no-no. Now, what do we mean by that? What are the things that you can improve when you're going through your portfolio? What are the things you really shouldn't do? Think about the photography. Bad photography can really let your portfolio down. Annotating the images that are there, tell us about them. When did they do? We don't need essays, we just need a few lines of simple type just to let us know what that piece is, what the medium is, maybe when it's been done, but also annotate research. Let us know that that's not your work and that that's your inspiration. Think about the alignment of images on the page. You don't just have to have one image on one page. You can have multiple images, as you've seen previously, but think about the alignment and placement of these. Use space well. Okay, it's really, really important. Don't cram everything in and clutter it, because it's then very, very difficult to see the skills that are underpinning that. And also consider the materials that you want to use. So, number one, here we have an array of images all placed on the page, but what do we think is wrong with them? How could we improve that? Look at the way in which they're overlapping and they're all crossing over, there's spaces between some, not in the other. If we suddenly move to this, oh, how much better that is. You can see immediately just aligning these images through helps that page much better. Number 2, annotating. Look at how, what do we think is wrong here? We've got annotations here. So how can we improve this? What do we think is really wrong? Okay, so look at what we've done here. We've aligned all of the images, we've reduced the annotation, and we've refined it down to a few lines that just explain what the overall page is, rather than having it cluttered and bitty across the page. Number 3, what do we think is wrong here? Have a think about it. What is this we're looking at? Annotate it. Explain that this is research. This is where it comes from, okay? Help us to understand that this is what's inspired you. Number 4. So we've got quite a few pages here that we're scrolling through, but we don't know what they are. So what do you think? How could we improve that? What should we do to that that would actually help that? That was maybe 4 or 5 pages you saw. We can put it all onto one page. We can organise these images that then present us with a clearer picture of what we're looking at. The annotation helps us to understand where it's come from, but we can also see the inspiration involved, and we can see some of the sketch development. Number 5. Again, annotation. Add that annotation in and help us to understand what we're looking at. And I think this is lastly number 6. What do we think is wrong with this page? It's the photography. It's the bad photography. Look at the difference. I'm going to scale back. It's almost bleached out. This one's verging on maybe just a little bit too dark. So then we lighten it and look at the difference to that page. Okay, so really think about the photography. It's fine to use your phone, that's not a problem, but do make sure you're in the right environment to be able to take a good photograph of it. So it's alignment, it's annotation, it's the use of the space, it's material use, and it's bad photography. So really think about what you're going to submit. We're looking for 15 pages in a PDF format, but we're looking at development. We're looking to see resolved work, but also the influences. So I'm going to take you back to the beginning. Have a think about this. I gave you some pointers. What are the unique selling points of Dundee? Why should you choose to come here and study with us? A discipline-specific area and desks for students to be able to interact within what becomes their home, their space that they come in and out of when and if they feel they need to. The placement programme, okay, that's really important here. The world-leading research that is underpins all of our teaching. And who are they? Look at our research pages and understand who they are. The interdisciplinary collaboration and the opportunities that are here beyond just your degree, but the other things that you can do that help you become a rounded graduate that's ready for that professional environment. And lastly, I just want to thank you for taking the time to look through this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions at all, please do contact us at DJCAD undergraduate@dundee.ac.uk, and we will answer any questions. No question is too silly. Please think about anything that you feel you just are not sure about, or you need an answer to, or you just want to check up on in terms of your portfolio. We're here to help. We've got a team of people that are just fantastic and here to help you. So thank you very much from me. Please take care, stay safe, and we'll hope to see your portfolio in the future. Thank you.